the show. Hey, welcome to a special travel edition of the Tom Renz Show. I am, as you can see, on the road, not in my normal seat. But we've got some really important things. CBDCs are here in America, folks. They're here. And they're getting ushered in, and it's so important. I have some new news on this. It's so critical. I needed to bring this to you guys. Doesn't matter where I'm at, this has to be out there. This is crucial. With all the stuff we've been talking about, digital ID being here, we're now seeing how this is all coming together to usher in CBDCs. So we're going to get to all that today. Lots of stuff. Probably a short show today because we are on the road and are doing a lot of stuff, but we're going to hit a lot of information. So you're going to want to stay tuned. Before we do, givesendgo.com/RensLaw. Givesendgo.com/RensLaw. Please become a supporter. We need regular donors, $20 a month, whatever you can give. The more you give, the more we can do. We're fighting against CBDCs. We're fighting against digital track and trace, digital ID. We're fighting, for freedom. We're fighting for parental rights. We're fighting for MAHA. We're fighting for health. Against these vaccines, all these different things. We need your support to do it. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. Also, go to TomRenz.com, www.TomRenz.com. Check out our sponsors and affiliates. And when you get there, you'll see right at the top, you'll see global healing, and you'll see men's hormone support in particular. I cannot stress how important it is that you get on men's hormone support from Global Healing. Listen, folks, men's hormone support is a phenomenal product. It has an amazing impact. I use it every day. I have it with me here on the road. I take it with me. The war on testosterone is real. When your testosterone levels are too low, you're tired, you're worn out, and men don't feel like men. Ladies, get your men on this. The recommended dose, 2 dropperfuls a day. I got to be honest with you. Start out at about 6 dropperfuls, even 8. For a couple months, and then once you get a couple months in, and you'll feel a world of difference, right? You said 6 to 8 dropperfuls, you will feel a world of difference. Stick on it for a few months, then drop down to 6, then to 4, then to 2. It will have a big impact. Trust me, folks. You want to do this. Listen, there's a lot of synthetics out there, a lot of different things. Global Healing does everything natural. It's all herbs and extracts and things like that, all organic, the best product line on the market. Make sure you're getting this stuff. Make sure you're supporting it. You definitely want it. All right, let's get to the show. All right, before we get into CBDCs, real quick rundown. We've got a few different things. Of course, we got the election today, so we're going to have the new communist mayor of New York. And what is it, Minneapolis or St. Paul? Somewhere up there, they got another commie running. So we're going to actually have communists. Instead of being thrown in jail for subversion, like they were back in the day, now we have communists running openly for mayors of major cities so that they can destroy our country and destroy our Constitution. It's insanity, folks, but it's happening, and it's going to happen. Andrew Cuomo actually apologized for murdering everybody in the nursing home deaths ahead of this the mayoral vote in New York. I don't know if it's going to be enough. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not. Cuomo's a disaster, and yeah, he's definitely better than Mondani, but he is not good. And at the end of the day, New York City is screwed, and you know what? They're going to kind of get what they deserve on this, but it ain't going to be good. Also, I've got Trump. I don't know. This thing with Trump and Massey just doesn't sit well with me. Massey, he does a lot of good things. He does. He doesn't waver. He doesn't sell out. I can't list too many things that I disagree with Massey on. Trump, he got all fussy, especially over the Epstein list, but I disagree with Trump on the Epstein list. He ought to be releasing it instead of covering for, the intelligence community and our foreign, supposed allies, intelligence communities. We all know what Epstein was. But he's all pissed off because Massey doesn't support big spending, and he doesn't support. Listen, Massey's a guy of principle. We need a lot more Masseys in Congress. So I don't know. Trump's endorsing his opponent in the primaries, and that's what we need is another sellout rhino that'll just go along to get along. It's just I want people that can think for themselves. That's the kind of people we want. So I don't like that. Bobby Kennedy. He's calling for a global ban on mercury in vaccines. And why wouldn't we do this? There is no safe level of mercury, right? There's none. You get it in salmon or tuna and some different fish, some different this, different that. But any mercury exposure that you get is unsafe. There just is none, there's just no safe level. So why would we inject it into ourselves in vaccines? It makes no sense. It's not a necessary ingredient. It's a poison, just like the rest of vaccines are not actually doing anything other than making us sick, folks. I'm done with this whole thing until there's some actual real science to back up vaccines. I'm anti-vax. I'm proud to be anti-vax. There's no science backing it. I've looked at the evidence. I've looked at the science. There isn't any. So I am a proud anti-vaxxer and will continue to be until such time as someone can prove me wrong with real facts rather than just lies and propaganda. The fact that we have to talk about aluminum and mercury and other things being in these vaccines is absurd. So that's that. We see a new video showing that the Capitol Police were firing less than lethal rounds at protesters' heads on J6 to try and incite a riot. No kidding. That's kind of old news. I'm glad that's making headlines and trending now, but I mean, we've known this for a long time. This was absolutely a Democrat plan. This was absolutely a hoax designed to cause trouble, just like the Russia collusion hoax, just like everything else. I mean, this is just the leftists doing what the leftists do: lie, cheat, and steal to get what they want. There's a whole lot more happening. Like I said, we got these insane election day things going on. The country's going to hell in a handbasket. But I want to talk about CBDCs. This is a critical deal, right? So we have in Ohio, we have a brand new bill. What is it? It is House Bill 195. It is going to pass, right? It's going to pass. Nothing we can do about it because our Republicans in Ohio don't actually understand what it does. And they wouldn't, because it's designed to make sure that they don't. So here's what's happening. Our country absolutely will not stand for digital ID and will not stand for CBDCs. Everybody knows that they can't pass that in this country. So the globalists need CBDCs and they need digital IDs to do what they want to do. So they had to find a workaround. So they looked around, they came up with this idea that is essentially to do what they did with COVID. And that's to allow, through public-private partnerships, things to happen that they could never do with under the Constitution through law. Our Constitution's too strong. The American people won't stand for changes. So they're going to do this in an extra constitutional sort of way. So what the government is doing is creating a situation where these globalist megacorporations, these monopolies, these Bill Gates, George Soros type people, can create these monopolies and they can facilitate CBDCs and digital trackers, all these things without the government doing it. And so the government will say, oh, it's not us, but the government has access to all the data through backdoor mechanisms. And the government has all the control, and the government can control these private entities just like they did during COVID by leaning on them. So the government gets all the control, but gets to dodge the Constitution. Now, part of this is happening because our courts have abdicated their duty to ensure that the Constitution is followed by allowing corporations to have rights far exceeding what they ever should have. Citizens United is a disaster. And by essentially allowing government public-private partnerships and to facilitate constitutional outright destruction of our constitutional rights. I mean, that's what's happening. So let me explain this, right? So pinned to the top of my Twitter profile is a thread about digital ID. So the Real ID Act of 2005, which was updated in 2020, mandates all these sort of digital features like biometric facial capture, machine readable tech, all these different things, right? It also, through related regulation, everything else, enables mobile driver's licenses. So mobile driver's license with the biometric data that's going to be captured essentially creates for a digital ID. Now that digital ID is mandated, you got to have a driver's license, but then it's shared through a public-private partnership with a private entity that shares those state ID databases across the country. So they're all shared together. This is a disastrous thing because essentially then you have a federal or a national universal digital ID system that works. If you want a driver's license, you got to have it, right? And everybody's going to move to real ID. Everybody's going to move to these real ID driver's licenses. We can pretend that they're not, but they're gonna. It's going to happen. So all that's going to happen, right? The data, there's all sorts of loopholes in the Driver's Privacy Protection Act. And they allow insurers, businesses to access your private data for air quotes legitimate uses with consent. The consent, though, is buried in these agreements that nobody reads, nobody understands. I mean, they're disastrous, folks. They're disastrous. So this all happens, and this then allows these mega corporations, Apple, Google, Microsoft, all these guys, to verify your ID using some sort of verifiable mechanism, which is always government issued, real ID compliant driver's license. So you see what happens here is you've got a digital ID that track and trace ties to this government database, which shares information with these big private entities, because you want to use your cell phone, you have to consent. You want to use Google or Apple or anyone else, you have to consent. So you're consenting to your data to be shared everywhere, right? And there's no way to survive or to exist in public life without it. You have to have your ID, right? Mark of the beast type thing. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. All right. So that's all happening. Meanwhile, you got the Genius Act, right? Genius Act. So the Genius Act, establishes this national regulatory scheme for stable coins, right? And it preempts money transmitter laws and everything else, and creates these dollar peg tokens, right? It also creates BSA compliance and anti-money laundering laws, consumer protections, interoperability, all this stuff. But they say it is anti-CBDC in there, right? And it kind of is in the sense that it says, no CBDCs, but that's central bank. What it allows is JP Morgan, PayPal, Elon Musk. They can issue digital tokens, stable coins, whatever, that or cryptos, and tied to the dollar, but they don't have to follow those same rules, right? Those digital tokens can have programmable stable coins. They can have expiration dates, merchant restrictions, smart contracts, all these sorts of things, which means these BlackRock-owned private entities will be able to say, we don't like it. We're gonna track your global warming, your emissions, and we're gonna give you a social credit score, but it's gonna be based on us. Then when you say to the government, hey, government, they're tracking at CBDCs, government's gonna say, yeah, we can't help it. They're a private entity. We can't regulate them, just like they did during COVID. When they said, Facebook's censoring us. Oh, yeah, we have nothing to do with that. We have no control over that, right? See what's happening here, folks? We're getting set up with the same thing that happened during COVID. It's coming in the same way. Now throw in Ohio House Bill 195, which is part of a UCC update package, Universal Commercial Code, that's occurring around the country. Right? So the states are all introducing these. And what this is doing is it allows for stable coins or crypto to be controlled. And what they're doing is they're calling them controllable electronic records, right? So it's blurring the line between crypto and stable coins. And it's kind of this broad, kind of messy thing where they're kind of one and the same, kind of this, kind of that. But it talks, private issuers can tokenize these values, and do whatever they want to do with it, right? So this becomes part of it. So this creates a situation where with your digital IDs and your MDLs, you got your verified identity, right? That's your digital ID. Genius Act, it's stable coins, it ties into programmable digital currency and allows these guys to do it. Then you get the UCC updates that basically allow for these transactions to occur with these things, right? So there's three parts of this. For money, for currency to exist, it has to be regulated, it has to be controlled, it has to be verified, and you have to be able to transact with it. Well, all of these things through these various laws are being passed. No one could pass a CBDC law. So instead, what they're doing is passing a whole bunch of laws that essentially act to facilitate CBDCs, but they're doing it on the private side rather than the public. We have CBDCs right now, folks. It's happening. These big companies have it. It's all over. It's essentially creating this giant surveillance-friendly loop, right? It is a critical thing, because what's going to happen now is you've got these your mobile driver's license linked identities that authenticate your stable coin wallets. You got it, which you got to be, ID verified. You're going to have transactions settling through these the CERs that are now being passed through the UCC code changes. And then you're going to have all this stuff tied together and tracked and traced. You're going to have all these things. It's 100% there. The CBDC system is there, and it's getting ready. And what's going to happen is over the next few years, this is going to come out in around the country, and you're going to see we have CBDCs nationwide. It's going to be there, and there's nothing you can do about it. So this is a huge deal. It's not a good thing at all, and essentially, we're in serious trouble, folks. We're in very serious trouble. Now, add into that, and I'm going to pull this up real time because I want to talk about it. This is a very big deal. Proposition, I think it's 15 in Texas. So Proposition 15 in Texas is basically a new law that's going to kind of they're positioning this as something to try and is it 15 or 12? Parental rights amendment. What they're doing there is they're talking about the fact that parents have a duty to nurture, care for, what have you, their kids. And it's being billed as a good thing, to protect parents. But it's actually something that because of some of that vague language, it may open the door for some real issues. Now, I'm in the process of reviewing this, but I got to be honest with you. I'm very, very, very concerned about how this is coming out. This, to me, looks like a wolf in sheep's clothing on initial glance. We're going to dig into this, and I'm going to give you guys a full report on it probably tomorrow. But for right now, I just want to put it up there as something that you guys should be aware of, because right now it's looking a little bit scary. I don't see anything that's happening. Everything that we're seeing, we keep seeing these things, these bills that they're passing that they claim do good things, but actually move things in the wrong direction. And it's a few key words here and a few things that they're burying here and there that are absolutely critical. Remember, folks, that when it comes to caring for your children, the law essentially allows the state to take your children from you in any given situation where they say that your kid is being neglected or abused or anything like that. Well, we don't want parents to abuse their kids, but there's a question: what constitutes abuse and neglect? And the problem is common sense governed that for a lot of years. But the leftists and the evil people out there have used this to take your kids. And what they've done is they said, well, if you don't give the medical care that we believe in, we're going to kidnap your kids and give them to CPS and then, adopt them out. Well, that doesn't work out well, right? The problem with that is that the medical care that they believe in is the big pharma scheme. So what happens if you don't want to vaccinate your kid? What happens if you don't want to give your kid, an mRNA poison? What happens if your kid wants trans care and you don't believe in it? Is that medical necessity? Is it neglect if you say no? Well, the problem is that they're claiming in many cases that the answer is yes. And they use corrupt doctors who want to make a lot of money off of these sorts of treatments, and corrupt CPS agents who make money when more money comes through when they have custody of kids to facilitate this. We've got to get this reined in. We've got to get this fixed, and it's a real disaster around the country, folks. It really, really is. So we're gonna make sure that we dig more into this and see what's going on, because we're getting some real conflicting reports on the Proposition 15 in Texas, and we'll be digging into that deeply. So, folks, like I said, we've got a short show today. We've got a ton of other things that we got to get to and to push. We're out there fighting the good fight. I want you guys to make sure that we'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what our time is, but we'll be back tomorrow, and please be here with us. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Thank you for watching the Tom Renz Show. Join us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, putting an axe in the skull of tyranny.
The MAGA revolution in cryptocurrency is here, reclaiming financial freedom for every American. Tired of globalist banks and deep state control? Blockchain is our weapon for sovereignty. Be a step ahead with Animus AI technology. Ranked #1 worldwide, exclusively available through Block Trust IRA. But beware, the wild ride volatility and scams lurk. Yet, with Trump-era policies like the Genius Act, we're tokenizing prosperity for veterans and the heartland. Globalist elites are panicking as leftist-controlled banks scrabble in the dust as MAGA investors access revolutionary technology. Reclaim your freedom with Block Trust IRA.
Join the fight to protect your wealth. Go to TomRunsCrypto.com and talk to Block Trust IRA now.
Listen live to The Tom Renz Show Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern.